Well, hey, good morning, YouTube. It's a chilly minus 13 degrees out here, so we got the toque on and the truck's not quite warmed up yet. So it's, believe it or not, it's only 7:34 and the sun is, I guess the sun is out. It's bright enough to do a video, so we're doing a video this morning. So I just wanted to add to, kind of part 2 of my video from last week, and I'm sure it may or may not have caused some steam in your household if you're talking about it, but this video we're talking about everything I know now I didn't learn in high school. So I want you to just stop and think for a minute and think about what it is you do now and how much of what you do now is related to what you did in high school. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. In high school, I was an academic. I took all my, and it was back in the day when we had OACs as well. I took all my math OACs, all my science OACs, and at some point in my life, I don't know when, I decided I wanted to teach. And I was gonna go to teacher's college and teach mathematics. That's what I wanted to teach. So I was an academic. But when I think about the stuff I do now, aside from teaching, but even if I think about my teaching career, I now teach communication technology, which is audio, video, graphic design, photography. I teach tech design, which is architecture, 3D modeling, 3D printing, prototyping, mechanics, that kind of stuff. I do teach math once in a while and teach construction. Well, aside from the math, which is what I went to university for, everything else that I teach, I'm teaching because I've taught myself, because I learned it outside of high school. If you've been watching my other videos, I think in one of my videos I tell you a little bit about my story. I'm actually teaching at the high school that I went to high school at. I've been teaching there 25 years, spent 5 years of my life there as a student. So, I've been there a long time. When I was a student there, I cannot tell you where the tech department was. Did not go there. Think about communication technology, it's very artistic, very creative, kind of computer related. I took my art course in high school in grade 12, my grade 9 art course in high school in grade 12, because I didn't take it originally because I wasn't gonna do art. Think about photography, communication technology, the architecture, all that kind of stuff. Those are all things that I do, and we use computers now, and I didn't have a computer in high school, nor did I like them in university. I can tell you right now, the first time I got on a computer in university was a psychology course, to go in a lab and log in, and I did not know what I was doing. So it was a very different experience for me. So everything I do now, I didn't learn in high school. And I'm not saying that high school isn't worthwhile. I'm just going back to this idea that high school maybe isn't for everybody. And I was a nerd in high school. I was an academic. I did what I had to do because I was a rule follower. So I did well in my courses. I probably could have done much better in my courses actually, and that's not to brag, but I didn't really work hard for my marks. They just kind of came to me easily. I was fortunate that way. That is what high school is meant for, I think, in some cases. It's for those kind of students. For the students that struggle in high school, that's the people we need a different program for. Those are the students where and maybe I'm wrong here, maybe I'm generalizing, and I apologize if I am, and if I offend you or if you have some other data, please put it in the comments below and share it with me. But the students that struggle in high school, I'm guessing that what they're doing now isn't very related to their high school career. And that's the part that I'm trying to get at here, is we don't have programs for those students who aren't necessarily academic based or set for science or math or that kind of thing. And I see it too in grade 11s. So it's really interesting to watch a student's schedule, because in grade 9 they have 2 electives, kind of electives. They can choose art, tech, or phys ed, so they fill that space with that. So it's not really a lot of choice, but it's choice there. In grade 10, I believe they have 2 more, and they have to do all their other courses because they have to take English, have to take math, and in our case, have to take religion. Well, when they hit grade 11, they go from having 2 options that they can pick to now having 5 options that they can pick. And it's overwhelming to a lot of students. And if students aren't taking math and science and aren't academic, like whether it's college or university bound, there's not a lot of choice for those extra 5. And that's where we get a lot of students taking a bunch of similar tech courses and then not really being interested or motivated in any of them. Is kind of what I've been seeing over the last few years, is this idea that I'm going to take a wood course, I'm going to take a greening course, a hospitality course, a construction course, and they kind of do mediocre in all of them. It's not great. I guess I look at it as a leader in the school. I'm department head of the technology department, and I look at it and think to myself, these people are spending 5 hours of their day every day for 5 months doing something that they're not really interested in. And I really think we need to kind of figure out a better way to do that. And I think, you know, high school is meant for people to explore. You've got this idea of taking co-op, right, where you go out into the workplace, try something and see if you like it before you actually do it as a job. But if we think about the courses themselves, like if a student takes hospitality, for instance, which is, you know, the cooking course kind of thing, learning about chef and food prep and hospitality and tourism, they don't really enjoy that course. For lack of a better word, they're stuck there 4 or 5 months for an hour and 15 minutes a day. That's a lot of time to invest in something that you're not very interested in, and a lot of time to kind of commit and be, you know, and put forth your best effort when you're looking at it a month in going, this isn't something I really want to do. How many of us would stick around for that kind of time with something that we didn't really want to do? And that's the part that concerns me. It's an interesting dilemma and an interesting kind of position to be in. So I'm not saying all students need to quit high school and drop out. That's not at all what I'm getting at here. It's definitely getting warm in here now. But what I'm getting at is we as a system and we as a society have to take a different viewpoint of learning and a different way of looking at learning, because the education system right now is not set up to be successful for everybody. And if we think about what we're doing as adults right now, whether it's your first career or your 5th career, how much is it related to your high school experience? Is it related to that at all? You know, when I think about all the building I do, and I think about all the computer stuff I do, none of that stuff I did in high school. I learned it basically from my experience out of there. I spent lots of time in my father's wood shop, custom building furniture. Actually, not so much custom building furniture, but doing a lot of sanding for him. It wasn't until later that I actually did some building myself. Spent many a year with my uncle, who is a sheet metal fabricator, doing sheet metal fabrication, and that's where a lot of the skills that I use now, the real skills, and even the skills I bring into my teaching, that's where all that has come from. It wasn't from my high school experience. My high school experience was an academic, education-based, typical high school experience. It wasn't what I'm doing now, and so that's why I try and bring what I can to my classrooms right now and hopefully inspire kids to do that. But one of the things, and this is, you know, a lead into another video maybe, I don't want to get too long on a rant here, but one of the things that I find is a bit of a struggle for students is, as much as they might love construction and love the building aspect of it, it's tough to connect to it, because it's not like they're leaving the school and then going home to build a house or necessarily build a shed. I mean, some do, and you can see those kids. And again, those are the easy ones to teach, because they already have the skill set, or they already have the knowledge, and they've got the passion. Those aren't the ones falling through the cracks. It's the ones that, you know, are trying to find the passion somewhere, and they can't, and they're like, wow, you know, build a wall, I'm never gonna build a wall, blah, 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 that kind of thing, you know? So I think there's a lot going on outside of high school as well that affects what they're doing in high school. But I definitely think what we're doing inside our building, we should be doing differently, and trying to capture more of those kids who are not the academic bound, or maybe not, you know, don't have it all figured out in grade 9. The kids that have it all figured out in grade 9, we got those kids. Those kids are easy to teach. It's the ones that don't have it figured out in grade 11, still don't have it figured out in grade 12. Those are the ones that we need to figure out how to better, you know, create a pathway, a better point in the right direction. And for me, I think in some cases that's work. That's a workplace situation. Get them in, you know, doing what they want to do, working with their hands, that kind of thing. Get them busy, and then that experience will lead to something, in my opinion, something successful, something that makes them happy, something that's positive. And let them come back later if they want to get an education, or not an education, but an OSSD, because they get an education on the job site as well. So that's what I've got to say. That's my rant for this week. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, this is Greg Sinti here on Along for the Drive, on Along for the Ride, saying see ya.